Howdy folks, and welcome back to part 2 of Sungha Jung's version of Creep. I'm going to go through the first section of the verse with you, which will have the following chords listed inside the tablature, which are G major to B7 to C major to C minor. Okay, so the very first picking pattern starts off on the 5th fret on the high E string, which you'll play with your little finger. This is then followed by the 3rd fret on the high E string with your index finger, which you will slide to the 2nd fret. So it'll sound like this. Okay, so altogether you'll have. Next, you're going to place your little finger on the 3rd fret of the high E string, followed by the 3rd fret of the low E string with your middle finger. This then goes to the 3rd fret on the B string with your forefinger. And altogether we'll have this so far. Okay, notably at this point you want to keep your middle finger on the low E string because we'll use this later. So the next part is open D, open G, and then the 3rd fret on the high E string with your little finger. Okay, so far we will have. So next you're going to play the open D, followed by the open G, and this is where we're going to reach down to the 1st fret of the B string and play this with our index finger. Now you're going to play this at the same time as the 3rd fret of the low E, so you'll have. Okay, so next you're going to go to open G, then back to the 1st fret on the B string, and then open B. Altogether you'll have this. So the whole line consists of this. Okay, so the second line of the piece starts off on the 3rd fret of the high E string, which you'll play with your little finger, and you'll slide up to the 5th fret. You will then go to the 3rd fret of the high E string with your index finger and slide down to the 2nd fret. And at this point, you actually swap your index finger with your little finger and play the 2nd fret again. So altogether you will have. Now, this is where we begin the B7 formation. So, you'll arpeggiate this, and by this I mean you play one note after the other, up to B. So you'll have A, D, G, B. So altogether you'll have this. Next, you're going to play the 2nd fret of the high E string and the 2nd fret of the G string. Okay, so far we'll have. Okay, so for the final part of the second line of music, you will need to go to the 1st fret of the B string with your index finger. You will then play the 2nd fret of the A string at the same time, and you should have this in place from the B7 chord. So you'll have. This is then followed by the 2nd fret of the G string, which you should have in place from the B7 again. This is then followed by the 1st fret of the B string, followed by open B. So the whole of that part is. Okay, so I'll just recap over this second line of music. Okay, so we're on to the third line of music now, and it's going to start off in the exact same way as the second line of music. So again, we're going to use our little finger on the 3rd fret of the high E string and slide up to the 5th fret. Then we're going to place our index finger again on the 3rd fret and slide down to the 2nd fret. Then we're going to place our little finger on the 3rd fret of the high E string and then reach up to the A string on the 3rd fret with our 4th finger. Then play open E, and this is going to be the high E. Okay, so all together you'll have this. Next, we're going to play the 2nd fret of the D string with our middle finger, followed by open G, then open B. So all together you should have this. This is then followed by the 2nd fret of the D string with your middle finger, then open G. Okay, so far we have and the end of that line of music goes to a C formation, so you'll need to play the 1st fret of the B string with your index finger at the same time as the 3rd fret of the A string, which you should have your 4th finger on. This is then followed by the 2nd fret of the D string, open G, and finally the 1st fret of the B string. So you should have this all together. Okay, so I'll just recap over the entire 3rd line of music. Okay, so we've reached the final line of the first section of the verse. Now this starts off in the same way as the 3rd line of music. So again, we use our little finger on the high E string, slide up to the 5th fret, place our index finger on the 3rd fret of the high E, slide to the 2nd fret. Then you'll place your little finger on the 3rd fret on the high E string. And now we're going to reach across to the 3rd fret of the A string, and you're going to play this twice. Now the trick of this is to get the 3rd fret of the high E string to ring out for as long as possible before you change to the C minor chord, okay? So all together you'll have this so far. At this point you want to start moving across to the C minor formation, and this will be the 4th fret of the B string, followed by the 5th fret of the G string, followed by the 5th fret of the D string. Okay, so all together you'll have this so far. Next you'll go to the 3rd fret of the high E string, which you should have in place because at this point you're barring the 3rd fret for the C minor chord. So you'll play the 3rd fret followed by the 4th fret of the B string, followed by the 5th fret of the D string. So altogether the last line of music consists of this. Okay, so I'm just going to recap over the entire first section of the verse.